Hi everyone. Let me know if you can see me and hear me. Okay. Cool. We've started the live stream. Hi guys, what's up? क्या चल रहा है? Hi Pokhraj. Okay, Saurav just became a godfather. That's so wonderful. Sorry about my hair, it's all over the place. But how is everyone's Thursday going? And okay, I'll just wait for someone to respond whether you guys can see me or hear me. Guys, do like the stream, and the more you like the stream, the more it gets recommended to people, so you know the drill. Hi Pokhraj, how are you? Okay, you're thinking of reading. Hi Ritik, you have a very interesting spelling. Hi Dipanshi, hi Jul, hi Saksham. So before we get into today's stream, I also want to tell you that in about 10 to 15 minutes, we'll be joined by a guest. And it's something that's pretty interesting. We'll be discussing mythology, especially goddesses, and so on and so forth. So have your questions prepared also. And yeah, we'll be talking about mythology and a lot of things. So I'm pretty excited about the episode, and I hope you guys are as well. So stay tuned. And we have an expert actually in the house. So have your questions prepared. Hey, thanks, Aarti. That's really sweet of you. Hi, Tintin the reporter. Oh, you're binge watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine. That's wonderful. You're wow, Pokhraj, thank you. Is it a sweater? Yes, it's a sweater. It's very cold here in the north. Yes. Hi, Sriram. How are you? Hey, the guest is not Vaibhav. Vaibhav is not going to be the guest all the time on the streams, but we have an author today, and it's. I mean, yeah. But how is everyone doing? Are you guys reading Bird by Bird, the book for the month of March? Let me know. And hi, Mohit. And how many of you have actually picked it up? I unfortunately do not have my book with me, but let me know what are your experiences and how do you find the book so far? Hi, Nandan. Hi. Vaibhav is not the guest, guys. Vaibhav is not the guest. And logged in. Yes, Sundar Isaac. So excited to see you. Hi, Harsh. Sure, definitely. We can consider that. Hi, Rajul. How are you? I'm good. Pokhraj, yeah. I mean, usually he's a guest on the Thursday streams because Thursday streams are all about reading. And yes, hi, Shrivats. Yes, it is. I mean, you guessed it right, of course. Shouldn't have been hard though, guys. It's in the description. Please also start reading the descriptions that we put out for you of every video because we have some very important links there. And yes, book for the month is Bird by Bird by, I mean, I'm not sure how to pronounce her name, so I won't even try it. But book for the month is Bird by Bird. It's a wonderful book about life and writing. So even if you're not a writer, you can pick up Bird by Bird because I think writing is a wonderful outlet. And the book is going to arrive tomorrow. I hope you bought the book from our Amazon affiliate link, Mohit. But it's wonderful to see you guys. Also, if you joined, please like the stream because the more you like the stream, the more it gets recommended to people, and you know how it works. It really helps us connect and grow. Oh, hi Dipanshi. I'm so glad you're enjoying the book. We're going to talk about a lot of books today, Vaise. So yes. Hey, hi Noor Sandhu. I'm so happy to know that my professor is featuring on my favorite channel. Wonderful. I'm also very excited for the discussion. Guys, jaldi se stream like kar do. And hi Pokhraj. Oh, you're hosting a fest. You should promote Chalchitra there, no? We are so close to, we're so close to hitting 100k subs. But yeah. Did I watch Don't Look Up? Yes, I did. Bird by Bird is actually pretty interesting. But yes. How many of you are actually interested? On a serious note, so many of you have asked us to bring in and to talk about Hindu mythology, and that is what we're going to do today. So do comment down any questions that you have about the same, the best in points for the same, or if you have any doubts. But yes, uh, nice one, Pokhraj. Uh, hey, thanks, Mohit. Hi, Diggy Pro Archive. I'm not sure if I pronounced your name correctly, but um, hi, Aarti. Hey, I'm so happy to know that your book is on the way. Harshita is reading Anxious People. Very interesting. What books are you reading? And we'll, yeah. Hi, Akash is saying the right things. Guys, do like the stream, please. And 70 people are watching us. That's interesting. And still, we only have 47 likes. Guys, क्या कर रहे हो यार? Hi, Hari. Okay. Digi bro, after Nasiruddin Shah's conversation. By the way, guys, our episode with Nasiruddin Shah is live, and you can check it out on the channel. It's pretty interesting, and thank you for showing all the love that you guys have been showing to the channel. Do share it with people, and obviously, I'm pretty certain all of you subscribe to the channel. But yeah, yes, a bit late, but I'm reading Dune right now. Little Women. Okay. Wow. The Picture of Dorian Gray. I'm actually planning to pick it up sometime soon. And I'll pick it up anyway, even if all of you guys oppose classics. But okay. A Room of One's Own. Nice. A Little Life. Wow. Background score. Do let me know once you finish A Little Life. I really want to pick up that book, but I'm just scared. Hi Shrivats, what happens once you sign up for a book a month using the Google form? We actually start sending you regular emails, and I share my progress of reading the book the entire month. But yeah, that is what happens. And also, if you sign up for a book a month, we also sometimes get recommendations from our end. So that is what happens, and you become a part, and you can share your progress with me and everything of the book, a book a month. And in case you don't know, A Book a Month is actually a series we do on the channel where I pick up a book each month and we read it together as a community and we discuss the book on the last Thursday, usually, of the month. Someone's reading Entangled Life. What are your favorite mythology books, by the way, guys? Coffee Gets Cold. Nice. Okay. Reading The Green Mile after watching the movie. I think it's a great exercise for deconstructing film adaptation. That's a very interesting point. Can we get Indian Andy Samberg as guest? Yes, we're actually working on that, and I hope that will happen sometime soon. But I don't know if you remember Dark Draco from the Insta Lives. Hey, nice, Aditya. Okay, your name's Aditya. Oh, that's very refreshing. Read 41%. Oh God, you've read 41% of Bird by Bird. Wow, that's very interesting, Srishti. And is there a part 2 with Nasiruddin Shah? Not yet, but you can always spam him, guys. It does, okay, if you want to, not forcing. And Amar Chitra Katha, nice. I also used to read a lot of Amar Chitra Katha when I was growing up. Sweet. Oh, Dipanshi's reading things I don't want to know. Wow. How's Upstream by Mary Oliver Ash? I've heard so much about lady doctors, by the way. I am actually... a lot of people talk about lady doctors and they talk about it so highly that it's absolutely wonderful. Someone's reading Theek. Okay, Nikhil is reading Theek Tumhare Piche. But, okay, guys. Hi, Asnaim. I hope you don't have an exam tomorrow. Abuzar Jamil is reading The Old Man and the Sea. Nice. My mom loves some of the works of Narayan Sanyal. Has he written anything about mythology? Not sure. Okay. Do I enjoy reading fantasy? I'm not sure. I used to love reading fantasy as a child, but I'm not sure anymore. But, okay. Guys, do like this stream now. And without wasting my time, I am going to invite our next guest. Just a little bit of introduction. Her name's Nilima Chitgopekar, and she's a very well-known academic and Indian religious studies expert. And she's written extensively on a lot of subjects. And her recent book is called Shakti, and it's about Hindu mythology, especially the goddesses, as the name suggests. And today, we are going to talk about the book, and we're also going to take a lot of recommendations from her in the process. And all of you must be respectful because she's also a professor and she's also lectured extensively at Harvard and Oxford. So I'm a little nervous, but I'm hoping all of you guys will be excited about it. And yeah, that's a very interesting question, Mohit. Once Nilima ma'am comes over, we'll be asking her the same. But Nilima ma'am, if you could turn on your video and your audio, that'll be really nice. But yeah. Hi ma'am, how are you?
Hello, how are you? I'm well, thank you. And really, I'm the one who's nervous because I'm coming after Nasiruddin Shah, it seems. I mean, that's those are big footsteps to follow. Oh my God.
But
But
I'm
hello,
so happy we're able to do this. And I see that a lot of students of yours have also joined the conversation, which is so nice.
yes, they have. Some of them were very excited about the book, and I said, this is a good way because, all youngsters are going to be here. It's not going to be one of those really, stuffy old interviews like academics have, but something that's, light and nice and informative at the same time.
Nice.
Yeah.
I actually want to begin with a question that Mohit has asked, and I think a lot of people would like to ask you the same. How important is reading mythology? Is it really necessary?
No, I don't think it's necessary. I didn't read mythology when I was growing up. And I didn't think it was, I was, not a good adult as I grew up. I mean, good meaning, somebody who was, knew had her wits about her. I don't think mythology helps that way, especially not in the past. But
Hmm.
now most of the writers are using mythology in a way like making it going, psychologically into it. So
Hmm.
I think what happens is, we hear our elders talking about some mythological stories, in Hinduism about, let's say, Shiva, Parvati, Ganesha, but we don't know what we're really supposed to take from there. So
Yeah.
that's where I've come in. I try to give you some kind of essence from each
Hmm.
story, which you can try and use in your life.
Nice. And how have you tried to do this in Shakti? Because I know Weber was telling me a lot about the book. He started reading it and I was very excited. My copy got delayed by a couple of days. I'll be receiving it in some time. But
Yeah.
he was telling me it's because he is someone who's not at all interested in mythology, but he's been reading it and he was like, "Oh, I didn't know this." And it's very exciting. So what
Okay.
was your major goal when you were writing the book?
Well, see, firstly, I just have to describe this book a little bit. It's just not about me writing, it's the huge
Hmm.
visual content that's there. So,
Yeah.
pages and pages and pages are filled with illustrations, modern, ancient,
Yeah.
medieval, you name it, all are, kind of melange or coming together. And so I talk a lot about those images. And so sculpture is important, scripture is important, icons, what we worship in the temples, those are important. And more than anything else, the devotee, the person who is a believer or even a non-believer is important in this book.
Nice.
Yeah.
And there's another question, and
Yeah.
it's a question that I also had. It's
Okay.
by Jui Joshi. I want to start reading mythology, but where do I start? I personally will tell you my story. I started reading mythology because of Amar Chitra Katha.
Yes,
And that
yes,
was my end point. But then
yes.
somehow when we grew up, we kind of stopped doing that.
Yes, yes. I think Amar Chitra Katha is a really good way to begin when one is, when you're a child. And then and unfortunately, there are not that many books that you can pick up for mythology, which are just, for the layperson. And I'm saying layperson without passing any judgment. It's just that some people, study religion. So they have
Hmm.
certain very, books which are very dense dealing with mythology. And then they're light-hearted ones. And, I can be accused now of self-promotion, but I think they can pick up a small book that I read, like The Interest in Goddesses. They can pick up a small book called The Book of Durga. And I did this some years ago, and it's just small, and it tells us about the myth about Durga and, why does she kill the buffalo demon and who is this buffalo demon? And, so we understand the whole thing of Durga Puja. You have this whole, in October, you have all these holidays
Hmm.
and we all go to the pandals and we go and see what's happening, but we don't really know the whole myth behind it. So you can pick that book up and you can start learning a little bit about the myth as
Nice.
well. Yeah.
And ma'am, in your book, have you tried to? That's a very stupid question, but have you tried to cover all the goddesses we've heard of, or have you just tried to cover the most interesting stories you could find?
Vani, not all, not only interesting stories. I think that's the selling point about this book, Shakti. We haven't actually counted, but maybe around 80 goddesses,
Wow.
not only from the Indian subcontinent, but also from Sri Lanka, from Nepal, from all kinds of other places, wherever we could, wherever it was important to, a goddess image was there, which was akin to the Hindu goddesses, we have covered. And we've covered the latest goddess. Do you know the latest goddess was made just a year ago? She's called Karona Devi or Karona Mata. So you
I
already have shrines to Karona Mata, and that's the absolute wonderment and
Wow.
beauty at the same time of Hinduism, that you can create gods as you go along. You can create your own gods and goddesses. It's that flexible. It's
Wow. And
unbelievable. Yeah.
where are the shrines based?
There's one in Bihar, and in fact, if you look at Shakti, I've talked about them, and there's one down south in Kerala, if I'm not mistaken. So I've covered 80 goddesses, so sometimes I have to go and do reference in my own book.
Wow. And what's the process of creating a goddess? Like,
Yes, so it's in Hinduism, there's sort of like very often you hear that sometimes it comes in the dream of a person, and that person gets,
right.
I dreamt about this goddess and I'm going to make a temple or a shrine for her. Or sometimes it's just, the Brahmins who have sat down and written the scriptures, and so they've created goddesses. And they're very psychological. The goddesses and gods in India, in Hinduism, are very, very psychologically appealing, whether it is
Yeah.
Kali, whether it is Durga, whether it is Shiva, Vishnu. So these gods have been created, I think, a lot by human imagination,
Right.
a lot by the human imagination, and they have resounded with people for centuries. They have reverberated. People have loved those gods and
Absolutely.
goddesses, and that's why they have survived for thousands and thousands of years.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And when you were researching the book, or even in your usual studies,
yeah,
did you ever come across a thread that ties every goddess together, or the way they have been portrayed until now in mythology?
yeah. So that's anybody does that. That is intellectual laziness. All the goddesses are different. I mean, at the most, we've called the book Shakti. So at the most, what will tie that one adjective, that one concept, is
Yeah.
that they all seem to have some kind of inner energy like Shakti, but otherwise they are very, very different from each other, whether it is Sita, whether it is Radha, whether it is Lakshmi, whether it is Durga, they are all very different. They're region specific, they're culture specific, they're language specific. So that's the beauty of the goddesses, because they're so different from each other. Each manifestation is so
Yeah.
different. And that just shows the variety of people that exist in India, because each area put forward their own goddess. It's just very
Nice.
fascinating. Yeah.
Can you also please give us some examples so that there are a few people watching who might not know of uh, every goddess that we are talking about? Can you also help us with
Yes.
some examples?
No, so one of my favorite goddesses is, of course, Durga, who is the one who is supposed to be called Shakti. She's also called Parvati. She's also
Yeah.
called Kali in different myths. Okay. So when she gets really, really angry in the battlefield, she becomes Kali. The same goddess becomes Kali. So it's like a woman or one goddess can become different things. It's her different moods. Okay. And they are manifested in different ways. So Kali is always with her tongue sticking out, and she's bloodthirsty, and she's angry, and she wears the mundamal. And then there's
Yeah.
Parvati, who's just very nicely, almost demurely sitting with Shiva. And she's the same as Kali, but just different manifestations. So one of my favorite goddesses, and in fact, she is my favorite goddess, is Parvati, just because she can manifest herself in different ways. She's the warrior goddess as Durga. She kills all the demons. She
Yeah.
takes help. But in her manifestations inside her, she makes them come out as Kali, as Bhairavi, and she kills all the demons one by one. So Durga, I think it seems like Durga emerged, this kind of goddess who goes around killing the buffalo, emerged somewhere in the east, like in Bengal or Odisha. Maybe there were actual women who went around, on astride some kind of vahan, some animal, and went around killing the buffaloes who were a threat to their fields, or whatever. So it was demonized. You can relate them. You can try to relate them to actual history as well. I don't know if I answered your question. I
No,
digress so much.
you absolutely
Yeah,
did.
yeah.
And what Pokhraj has said, Pokhraj is one of our favorite subscribers. He said, "Are
Okay.
there village goddesses in your work? And
Yes, yes,
if so, like,
yes.
what all regions have you tried to cover?"
Well, we've looked at village goddesses like in Rajasthan, and there are a lot of Gram Devis. They're called Gram
Right.
Devis, like village
Yeah.
goddesses. Then there are Kul Devis, that is goddesses belonging to certain
Mm.
families and certain
Yeah.
lineages. So there's a whole variety, of different goddesses. And the Gram Devis, the village deities, are she's supposed to be the protector of the village. So
Yeah.
her shrine is right outside the village, and she's supposed to protect them from everything. It's like when you show a fierce form of a goddess, then
Yes.
she has the might, and she can protect you. If she's this demure looking thing, very ladylike, very ladylike in quotation marks, I mean, what we look at as a lady, then she's not going to have the strength or the courage, and people won't get scared of her. So they show her in a very very fierce manner, with all kinds of swords and all kinds of weapons in her hands, multi-limbed, and then she can scare anyone who's going to come and attack the village. So the goddesses in the village, the Ram Devis, are usually quite fierce to look at.
Nice. And
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
And was there anything that surprised you when you were researching the book?
I think just a wide array of goddesses that really surprised me, that even a religion like Buddhism had its goddesses, so many goddesses. A religion like Jainism, where you think only the male is important, had goddesses. And so then I just was very surprised as how pervasive goddess worship is and belief in goddesses is. So she can be very nurturing. She can be, emphasizing fertility, but she can also be a very sexual being. And so I'd like to talk about that also, because it is very fascinating to me that our goddesses seem to reflect women's deepest desires, but those desires have not been talked about. It's almost like male historians before us may
Yeah.
have been a little uncomfortable with that aspect of the goddess. And so it is very often just overlooked, and not talked about it at all during their text.
Yeah.
So when I was doing research, not just for this book, for earlier books as well, I would come across a Parvati who was very bold, and she would curse the gods because they had interrupted her when she was making love with Shiva. And most of the renditions, most of the interpretations said she was angry because it was before she could uh, before they could conceive a child. And she was basically just dying to be a mother. And so she wanted a child so badly. And I said, yeah, this fits in very well with the maternal image of a woman, and all women should be maternal. Yeah, 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 that's right. I kept reading, reading, reading. And in one run, I came across this whole verse in which she's so angry with the gods for interrupting their lovemaking because she said she had not yet reached sexual satisfaction, and they had come and interrupted her. And I was amazed. I said, this is our Hindu scriptures, which are supposed to be so conservative, so orthodox. My publisher was publishing this one the first time. He used to always tease me. He said, has your house been burnt down, Nilima? Because you're like, you are going to be threatened by people. I said, but I have footnoted everything. If I'm saying this, I'm telling you it's from the Padma Puran. Go and check the Padma Puran. Go check the Skand Puran. Go. You can't just say it like that. You'll get
Yeah.
into trouble. There are people who will not like that aspect. It's just like people say, I've read the Devi Mahatmya, which is where Durga is fighting the demon, and she's quaffing wine and she's getting intoxicated and her eyes are bloodshot red with drunkenness. People don't like that. It's there in the Devi Mahatmya. How are you going to try and whitewash that? Why are you uncomfortable with this image of the goddess? Why do you want her to be just a certain way?
Yeah, I think I was streaming a few days ago and someone mentioned that our scriptures are just one. Nobody knows if, I mean, for lack, I don't want to be political here,
Yes.
but for lack of, I mean, I am not able to put it in a better way, but somebody said they are so, if they were fantasy, they would be 10x better than Harry Potter or Lord of the Rings that we read. Because these characters that we see have been portrayed so well that we're still setting examples of the same. And when you talk about goddesses, I just realized, oh my God, we have such wonderful female characters. And I
Vaani,
think, yeah,
you have hit the nail. You made me want to just describe this a little bit. Harry Potter, sabko side mein chodo. Look at this Kali. When she goes on the battlefield, there's this one particular demon called Rakta Beach. Every time he is hit with a sword or with a knife or something, and a drop of blood falls when he's dying, and the drop of blood falls on the ground, another Rakta Beach comes up. Another one comes up. Another one comes up. So each time the goddess was attacking him, there were these little clones coming up everywhere ready to fight. So guess
yeah,
what happens? Kali appears. And Kali has this long, lolling tongue, which she takes out, and before the drop of blood could hit the ground, she sucks it in with her tongue, and that destroys Raktabij. I mean, look at the vivid imagination. Just think about it. That's the lolling tongue of
Wow.
Kali. Before the blood, because the drop of blood has to hit the ground. Only then will a clone of Raktabij come up and then fight the warrior goddess again. But no, Kali appears and her tongue is long like you cannot imagine. She takes it
Right.
out before it goes onto her hand, and she sucks it in, and that's the end of Raktabij. So just think about the kind of, that's the vividness. I mean, why do people want to go and watch Ramayana and watch Mahabharata? I mean, the kind of story and the kind of machinations and the kind of, manifestations, not manifestations, the kind of manipulations between the people. It's also close to our, either it's close to our lives psychologically, actually in relationships, or it's such a fantasy that many of us like to read about fantasy.
Yeah.
So our religion provides us with everything, the good, the bad, the ugly. You don't have to go searching anywhere else. You can get it here in the religion.
That's nice. There's actually a comment, and I wanted to talk about this. So there was this character in Mahabharat called Madhavi. It's by a comment by Sriram Seteja, and I also read one play about it when I was growing up, but that was it. I've never heard of the character post that. I think she was the one who was the daughter of Raja Harish Chandra, someone who was very kind, and he gave away his. I don't know if you.
Okay, so I'm not very clear with my Mahabharata. I have to
Okay.
confess to all of you here that I get very confused in the characters. I find them they're multifarious, and I haven't really got down to studying the Mahabharata very closely. I won't say it's the superstition. You know what the famous superstition is? Don't bring a Mahabharata into your house. Your house will be full of strife the way it was in the Mahabharata. So
Okay.
that's not the reason, but I actually don't possess a Mahabharata. So and I haven't read it. I've not really had an, reason so far. It's mainly been the Purans and the Vedas that I have looked,
Got
the
it.
Upanishads. These are the texts that I have looked at very closely.
Right.
Yeah.
I also get very confused
Yes.
with characters. Do you have, when you're reading a book, especially fiction, uh,
Yes.
I make a flowchart to remember the characters. Do you
Yeah.
do something similar, or you
No,
just.
but recently in fiction, Vani, what I've been reading recently, I found that there's a trend between at least the English writers. They start their chapters with the name of the person, and then they write about them. It's almost like they're trying to make it easier for the reader to remember whom they're talking about.
Yeah.
So the chapters are then, okay, if there's a Ruth, then she'll come back after a while. Ruth, then again after some time. It's a style of writing. So no, I don't do that with my fiction. I sort of like,
Yeah.
I know what I'm doing. But yes, in my writing, when I'm writing about gods and goddesses, firstly, I just find them so fascinating. So I find it very easy to write about them. I finished this 200,000 word book in 6 months, believe it or not. So it was, and this is while I was teaching, while the epidemic was on. So I was losing friends. It was a very sad time, but I could write about the goddess. I had a wonderful editor, a very young person. You'll be interested to know that a woman of my age had a 26-year-old young gentleman who was my editor, with whom I worked closely. Can you imagine the intelligence, the breadth of vision the young man must have had? And he conceptualized so much of the book, and we worked so closely together. It was an absolutely wonderful time for me. I think for both of us, we both have formed a close bond. And it's been wonderful because he would conceptualize, as a young person, what will young people like to know? I'm at this age where I would probably, though I'm a professor and I work with young students, but this was so nice for me to know what they would find interesting. And he would, tap that portion in my brain and in my knowledge system and say, why don't you write about this? Why don't you talk about this? It was wonderful to work with him. I think I've digressed a lot, but it's just the
No,
word.
no, that's absolutely
Yes,
okay.
yes. Yeah.
I'll also take one more question. It's by Juhi again. During Navratri, we give colors a lot of importance. So, how are these colors and goddesses connected, and where did this association start?
So chronologically, I'm not sure exactly when it started, but from very early times, like in the Rig Veda, we already know that a goddess like Saraswati is dressed in white. So we already have these connotations. I mean, in a way, I feel colors are so racist because when they want to show someone angry, then they'll make her Kali. she'll be dark in color when she's angry and,
Yeah.
absolutely black. So you give black a bad name. But whiteness always is exemplifying purity and, things
Right.
like that. On redness will be fertility. So these color things, I mean, these color associations have come, even green. Like today, green is connected to Pakistan, to our neighbor. But green was a color which you'll see even in my book, Ardhanarishwara. Parvati is shown in green color. So green also, emphasize the fertility aspect of a goddess because, greenery,
Yeah.
vegetation, etc. So yes, I think it goes back, it harkens back to a long time back. But today, many people believe in it. I find, some of my colleagues, they'll only wear, I don't believe in all these things, but I'm interested in them. They'll wear certain colors on certain days of the,
Yes, I've seen people
you
do
know,
that.
and they say it goes back to the goddess.
Yes.
So I don't
And
know.
sometimes you're meeting a few people on Thursday, and 50% of them will be dressed in yellows.
Really? And what if you don't like yellow? I'm not very fond of yellow. So what do you do then? So yeah.
Do you also listen to podcasts, ma'am? Like, I'm just asking because there was a comment about it.
Yes, I do. I do listen to podcasts, but not so often since I'm actively teaching also. So
Yes.
half my day goes by in lectures and also sometimes preparing the lectures or doing the evaluation. But yes, now and then, if there's something like interesting in religion, because you see, religion is not taught in India. So, and I basically am a historian. I teach history. But my area, what I specialized in my
Yeah.
PhD was religion. So I have to try and keep in touch with it, even though I don't get a chance to teach it because it's not taught anywhere. But I want to keep in touch with it, So I do listen to the podcast about religion. Oh, somebody's done some work on Saptamatrikas. Okay, somebody's done some work on Ganesh, further research. And all the research has been done overseas. So yes, I do listen to this podcast.
Nice. And do you have any recommendations from the ones you listen to? Or any episodes also that you found were very interesting?
No, not as of now, but there is this one particular person called Raj Balkaran. If you just look up his name, he has this whole Balkaran, Rajbalkarn. He has this whole podcast thing, and he has very interesting topics. But I must say, some of them are really very, very technical and academic. So you might find them a little boring. I do at times, but you can go ahead and listen
Yeah.
to some of those. Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am. And what kind of books do you read apart from mythology and history?
Yeah, so mythology is basically I'm reading when I'm writing a book, most
Okay.
of the time. I don't read it for pleasure as such, because, and most of the time I am writing something or the other. But there are these books, I like to read murder mysteries. I'm very fond of
Nice.
murder mysteries. Yeah. So some of these books, I don't know if any of you have read them, Ruth Ware, One by One, or, Then There Was One, and then something about a keyhole. I'm forgetting Ruth Ware, or, these other ones like Lisa Jewell, or Sally Rooney. I like books which talk about where there's a murder and then there's a psychological drama going on and all kinds of, yeah, and those kind of things. Not investigative, not detective, but murder,
Followed by drama.
I like dark stuff, let's put it like that. Maybe because I deal with gods and goddesses all the time. I like to read
Yeah.
very dark stuff and I like to watch very dark stuff. And people are shocked because they think that I'm, should be only liking only nice things. No.
No, that's very entertaining.
Yeah.
Um, do you also have a particular goddess in mind who you want to be, who you want to see in a movie, her life portrayed in a movie, or her as a character in a movie?
Yes, I do. That's a good question, actually. There's this goddess Sati. She's also Durga. Before she's the first wife of Shiva. Sometimes people think of her as the avatar, as the first avatar of Parvati. So I find the story of Sati something that actually reduces me to tears each time I write about her, and I've written about her quite a few times. I would like to, and I would just very briefly say why. Many girls find this, that they fall in love with a man who is completely disliked by their father. Very often, it's a very common phenomenon. And in this mythology, we deal with that. Sati is in love with Shiva. Shiva is hated by her father, Daksh. He deplores him. And he tries his best to humiliate him whenever he gets a chance. Many times you see that in Hindi films, you see it in English films. It's kind of like a leitmotif that goes on in a girl's life. And if that happens, that the father hates the the husband, it becomes very difficult for the daughter because she loves her father. Sati was her father's favorite daughter. He had so many daughters, but she was the favorite. And then she goes and falls in love with Shiva. And he hates everything about Shiva, the fact that Shiva puts ash on his body, the fact that he dances nude, the fact that he doesn't have a good background or lineage, the fact, so all those things he finds him repulsive. And basically he's a follower of Vishnu. So he cannot stand Shiva. There's rivalry between Vishnu and Shiva. And it's really sad because ultimately Sati gets so upset by the humiliation that she kills herself. And she's young, she's a young bride, she's so much in love with Shiva. And it's really sad when you read the Purans. She's with Shiva and she says, see, I'm seeing everybody is going. She goes and asks, where are you going? Where are you going? So they say, we're going to Daksh. He's having this huge party, and we've all been invited. And she gets so upset. Firstly, she doesn't get upset. She just goes to Shiva and says, come, let's go. My father's having a party. And Shiva says, we've not been invited. We're not going. I mean, it's just like such a everyday thing happening between a couple. So she said, so what? Does a daughter need an invitation to go to her own parents' house? And he still stops her. So she gets really upset. And finally, he lets her go. He knows foreboding. He has that in his mind that something terrible is going to happen. And sure enough, when she goes there, her father first humiliates her. He says all kinds of horrible things about her husband. And then he starts humiliating, both of them. And he said, why did you come? And she's so embarrassed and humiliated in front of hundreds of people that she just self-flagellates, she conflagrates. Through the yogic fire, she burns herself and she dies. And I find that a very sad story that, she was dying to see her mother and dying to see her sisters and spend time with them. And no matter how much in love you are with your husband, with your spouse, you are going to miss your maternal family. And she was missing her maternal family. She was wanting and longing to be with them. And she goes there and then this happens to her. So I would like to see a movie in a modern day setting. Yeah. Maybe I would like her not to die. Maybe I'd like her to take revenge on her father or something like that. I don't know.
I think this is the first time I am actually wanting to read the story of Sati because I knew about it, but I never gave it so much thought.
So I can tell you, even here, the students and not students, the people who are listening, they can, again, it's a book that I wrote because I've tried to make mythology very attractive to people. So it's called Rudra, the idea of Shiva. There's a whole chapter on Sati. And I've just talked about how Vishnu, his father-in-law, his arch-rival Vishnu, his wife Sati, what do they feel about Shiva? How does it feel to be married to a man like Shiva? How does it feel to have a son-in-law? So it's also from the father-in-law's viewpoint. I've written that biography of Shiva. So you can read that. That also deals with mythology. Yeah.
Nice. I'll definitely pick that up.
Yeah.
I actually, I was reading a lot about feminism while growing up, like Virginia Woolf's A Room of One's Own and everything.
Yes.
But there was this particular author, and I started so she's written Deborah Levy, and she's written an autobiographical series. And there are 3 books that are part of this series. I haven't read the third one because I don't think I'm old enough to associate with it. But the first book is called Things I Don't Want to Know, which is about her 40s and how she was running away from things, how things that you don't want to know are probably the things that will change the way you deal with people.
Yeah.
And these are the second book is called Cost of Living. And it's kind of a reply to Virginia Woolf's Rooms of One's Own.
Okay.
And she talks about the price women have to pay to, make a living and then actually enjoy what they make. And there was this very beautiful thing in Cost of Living that changed the way I speak to every woman around me. And it was, we look at our mothers and we look at our fathers. And every day when our father comes home, we're very excited because we want to know what he's done in the world, how his experience has been. And we have prepared a story in our head that we'll share with our fathers.
Yeah.
And with our mothers, we are embarrassed because she's so loving and we feel like she's toxic and she's suffocating us.
Yeah.
But the moment she kind of goes out to catch her dreams or like to work on her dreams, we judge her because she's not doing her job.
Yes.
And but the moment she leaves those dreams for us, we kind of question her for leaving those as if you don't have enough ambitions.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, we've been doing this. Like I've been doing this entire life to my mother. And I just felt so bad.
Yeah.
And do you also think with mythology, a similar story can stem? Like with all the goddesses, do you see a contrast that we've built?
Yes, I was actually really enjoying your narrative right now. So I'm feeling sad that it's over.
But
uh,
I think how I started perceiving women was completely different because I knew like we deserve equal rights and everything. But
yes,
there are these minute things that we miss out in every day.
yes,
Uh, and do you think mythology also, like the way we perceive it today, because nobody goes back and reads the entire text,
yeah,
and what we know of is what is being portrayed on TV or in films.
yeah.
And do you think that portrayal kind of loses out on the essence of womanhood?
I do think it does because they don't deal with the day-to-day living. And I mean, in fact, most of the goddesses don't even have children.
Yeah.
So children is one of the things that keeps you bound down and sort of like keeps you in handcuffs. Women for a long time,
Yeah.
especially when the children are small, they really don't have any freedom or any liberty at all. And you don't find our goddesses have them. I mean, Parvati has two children, and she has two sons, but nobody else. You won't hear of Lakshmi, rather anyone. You don't hear about the children or what are the problems of their bringing their children up and things like that. So yes, that's a very good question, and I think that we should create some our own mythology where
Yeah.
we talk about these things because you were talking just now about how difficult it must be for women to either break away and go and do something and then be accused by their children. Whatever they do, they are being accused by their children. That
Yeah.
now you're going and going away from our life, and you're doing your thing, and now you've come back, and it's like it's like you can't ever satisfy anybody. So
Yeah.
I would say if anybody would ask me advice, I would just say just stick to your choices, and it's going to be tough. And just do it like I did throughout, and I'm going on doing what I want to do. For me, writing books gives me immense satisfaction. I cannot tell you how much satisfaction. Each book, when it comes, I get so emotional and just hug it, and you feel so great. And it is something that is abiding. It is something that is eternal. It's not something that goes away from me. It's with me all the time. So
Yeah.
that's what I do. And somebody else would be able to do something else. And I think it's just so important to give that priority and do it and not listen to the society. If you're not maternal, don't have children. If you are had enough of, you had one child and it's made you feel fulfilled, stick to that one. Don't listen to people that you have to have another. And you don't want to get married at all, stick to that. All that is okay. But yeah, so anyway, again, I'm digressing, but that was a very good point you made.
Not a problem if you digress, ma'am. That'll be wonderful.
Yeah.
But I also would like to know, like you were talking about, you go back to writing and that brings you a lot of joy. Are
Hmm.
there other things in life that bring you joy? So I have this, one of my favorite authors is Maria Popova, and she runs a beautiful blog. It's called
Okay.
Brain Pickings. Now it's, I think, marginalization or something like that.
Yeah.
And she talks about build your pockets of stillness, things that you can, or pockets you can put your hand in and take
Yeah.
out something that you like. What
Yeah.
are the things that you go back to when you are feeling overwhelmed or when you're confused in life or when you just do not know how to, when you just want to relax? Or what are the
Okay.
things that bring you immense joy that you know, like if I'm having a bad day, this is something I'll do and I know that I'll come out feeling better?
Okay. So I think I don't know how many people will identify with this. I like to write in a diary.
I identify with this.
Okay. So I don't like to normal. I'm such a private person that I don't like to talk about my feelings to anyone, to even a close friend. So I think it's very nice for me to just write what I'm feeling in my diary, and I don't want to go back to that diary because I don't want to feel that sadness that I have written about. Or if I'm very angry towards someone I love dearly, I don't want to recreate that anger and hatred towards that person again. So I write to take it out and to be able to understand my feelings. I write in my diary. I write everything honestly. But you never know. After maybe a year or two, I might just burn that diary or just tear it in shreds and not keep it, because the act of writing puts it down. It takes it out of your system in a way, somewhat in a way. So because half the thing about living life happily is to forget.
Right.
I'm very, very confused by this sometimes because at one level we say life is all about nostalgia, and as you get older, you're going to be nostalgic about your school days, about your college days, about your this days, that day, early married years. And at one level, they're saying you should forget because in those days, there would be sad days as well. So I
Yeah.
guess we just have to balance the two. There has to be nostalgia as well, but not that much of nostalgia, just living in the past and then recreating all the sadnesses and tough times, because young people will go through tough times. There will be more tough times, in my opinion, and they will start receding as you get older, because you might get more financial, so you'll be able to sustain yourself better because you're earning better. You might have realized what you're all about, so you don't care about many toxic people. So life becomes easier. It should become easier as you get
Right.
older. So
Yes.
yeah, not live in the past, right? But destroy it. Don't keep it with you. No.
Nice. I think I've also started doing this thing. There was this time where so I have some of my old diaries with me when I was a teenager, and
Mhm.
there are these huge rants about my mother
Mm.
or
Yes.
my sibling.
Yes.
Those were the people I think who caused a lot of trouble,
Yes.
for lack of a better word.
We
But I
always
think
do.
But I think I had this habit of reviewing my diary yearly, and then I would write down notes. Oh, this is something stupid that I wrote. This was unnecessary. And I think I picked up on that habit recently again. And now if there is something that happens that's very terrible or traumatic, I just write it down very angrily, the way I feel about it. And then the
Yeah.
next morning, I just review it, like what I could have learned or what I could have done better.
Yeah.
Or this was something I could have held off. And I think I turned 25 in about 2 months. And
Okay.
I think I'm in that stage where I'm becoming slightly more emotionally mature, where
Yes.
I have started realizing, okay, this triggers me. And then I'm like, oh,
Yes.
it triggers me, but why does it trigger me? And then I get awfully and then I go back down the memory lane. Oh, that is something that happened 10 years ago, and now this is triggering me.
Yes.
So it's an endless process of growing, I think.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
I
Well,
don't know if it gets better with age, though. I hope it gets better with age.
if you're maturing well, it does, but many people, it doesn't happen like that. It's not necessary that you get old and you're emotionally mature. You know that many people stay very childish and even in their old
Yeah,
age. But that's because they've not really worked on themselves. You have to keep working on yourself. You're
absolutely.
constantly being worked upon by yourself. If you are an intelligent person, that's what I feel. But you're awfully young. Oh my God, your reader, your the people who subscribe to this must be very young as well. I don't know if they're finding it interesting what we're
Oh,
saying. Yeah,
I'm pretty certain they are
I hope
enjoying
so.
this.
I hope so.
This,
It's just it's nice
yeah.
for me to be able to meet such young people and hope that they do pick up some of the books and read up on mythology, which can help you because it's all pervasive in the society that we live in. All over,
Yeah.
you hear about there are different things. Instead of just dismissing it and saying, "Oh, this is too religious," or even saying becoming too religious, I think there should be a median. There should be a middle path where you know what it's about and what good you can take out of it, and throw away the stuff which is very
Yes.
discriminatory and not nice at all, which is too exclusive. And you know what I mean about Hinduism.
Yes.
So many factors.
Also, at this point, all of you who are watching us, guys, do like the stream. That's one.
How many
And
people are watching us, Vaani?
there are 82 people who are watching
Oh,
us right
that's
now.
nice. That's nice.
Yes. And guys, secondly, we've also added the links to the books that Nilima ma'am has written until now. There's Shakti. And we've also added the link to Rudra, the idea of Shiva. So if in case you want to check out those books, get them for yourself, you can check out the links in the description of the video. So yes. And there's a comment that I'd like to read. It's by Aditya. This is a banger of a life, ma'am. I don't, banger of a life, ma'am. 18-year-old here.
Okay, firstly, can you please interpret Bangalore? I somewhat get an idea, but maybe I need to know a little bit more.
Banger means that this is a wonderful live stream. They're enjoying
Thank
it
you
a lot.
so much. That's so kind of you. Was that Aditya? Who
That
was?
was Aditya, yes.
Yes, thank you, Aditya. It's the hugest compliment for me to get it from an 18-year-old that you can find me interesting as an 18-year-old. I am very pleased to hear that. Thank you.
I've learned this from my parents. Someone has commented, Satvik Raj has commented, Nilima ma'am, you're very young. And there are a lot of people who are saying that they are enjoying the stream.
Thank you very much. Well, I'm not an ageist as such. I like to be the age that I am, but I always feel, because I have these classroom of students, young girls, and they start at the age of 18 and they go on till about 21, 22. And some of them are just so bright that in a day you can come back learning at least one new thing because they would have said something to
Yeah.
you in any context. So you just have to it's a cliche, but you really have to keep your mind and ears
Yeah.
open, and you will learn from youngsters like you cannot imagine.
Nice. My father tells me that you should constantly surround yourself with young people. Only then will you stay
Yeah,
young
but
at heart.
it's not easy for all professions. That's the problem.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not easy. But young people can also be very unkind if you don't appeal to them. So, in order
Nice.
to appeal to them, you have to be with it. You have to know what's happening. You have to know what the latest Hindi songs, English songs, movies, South
Yeah.
Korean serials. I mean, you have to know
Dramas. Yeah.
about drama series. You have to know about what's happening, what are they doing, and try and see
Yeah.
if there's something in that gels with you, so you can bring it up. You know, I remember once I was teaching, I was talking about Shiva, and I said, Shiva, when this is my classroom and they're all listening to this, I said, Shiva, he was an outcast and he was supposed to be a low caste person. And so he carries, if you see his sculpture, he carries a ghanti in his hand. Okay. So the ghanti
Mhm.
he's supposed to bajao the ghanti. And so when he walks into the village, everybody has to move away like they do for Dalits, which is a terrible, terrible thing. So I said, like that song, तूने मारी घंटी और दिल में बजी तूने मारी entry और दिल में बजी घंटी. And myself, the girls first, they just looked at me and then they all burst out laughing. I said, favorite song, right? Because they're just like, this was some years ago. And I said, it's just like that. Entry, Maro, Ghanti, like, yeah, they were just laughing. And then people asked me, they said, how do you know that song? I said, this is what I do. I turn on the radio, I want to hear what are the girls listening to, because I may not listen to it just in my home for
Yeah.
whatever reason. So yes, I do think that sometimes you have to break the boredom of the class by just surprising your students by just doing something crazy
Yeah.
and bizarre like that. And I think you need to keep up with them and be very, very compassionate towards them, especially now. These last 2 years have been very difficult for youngsters. So it is our job to know that they have been deprived of 2 years of youthful energy, of youthfulness, of just being away from their parents at least half the day, and then being stuck in their house with their parents the whole day. Two years, imagine, with the troubling siblings and the troubling mother. Oh my God, all compassion for you. So they tell me, ma'am,
This
please, no more class today. I'll say, okay, no more class today. I'll do that. Yeah. Yeah.
There's a comment that I really want to read out. Satvik has commented this, and I completely agree. Nilima ma'am, I'm really sorry to deviate from the topic, but you have an amazing sense of style.
Okay, thank you very much. You should not be sorry. Oh my God. Don't you know that if you compliment a woman, she's going to be very, very excited? Thank you very much. Thank you. And Satvik, that's nice. Where do you stay, Satvik? Are you a Delhiite, or is he a Delhiite? Or?
Satvik, please let us know where you're from. And yes.
Okay,
So,
that's very nice, very
and
kind.
he's
Yeah.
he's asked you another question. How do you, and this is very interesting, how do you handle critique on your writing, to your own writing?
Okay, so firstly, I don't get too much criticism so far. My last book, I did see a review recently where they're saying, because the last one of my books is a self-help book. It's called The Reluctant Family Man, Shiva and Everyday Life. And it's actually done very well for many people. People have found answers to their lives, and they've really, gone forward, and they've thanked me. But one person said, "Oh, this doesn't make sense. And what is she saying? What is she trying to put forward?" And it's okay. I just smiled and I didn't mind it at all. That was the only time I've been criticized in all my life. And you can see it. It's out there online. It's his review. He has this, I forget his name. He has this way of drawing a picture of the person. He must have taken my photograph from, online anywhere. And he draws a picture and then he writes this. So he's critiqued my book and not said many nice things, but all the rest of the reviews are so good that I smile. I don't mind it. I'm glad he read it. I'm glad he was impacted by it, that he wrote that
Right.
review. Yeah, I don't mind it at all.
And there's also a comment. It's by Ishan. So he's one of our godfathers. He's one of our patrons, and he runs this beautiful, beautiful YouTube channel / Instagram handle called Karwan, the Heritage Exploration
Yes,
Initiative.
yes.
And he said she's one of the best teachers and a dedicated practitioner of the historian's craft in Delhi University. So yes.
Well, that's very kind of you, and I'm very happy to hear that. Thank you very much. I do know about Karma, and maybe one day I will speak there. Maybe I'll be invited to speak there. Yes, I do have a very good relationship and feedback from my students that I can say
Wonderful.
that. Yes,
It
yes.
makes me want to sign up for your classes, but
Yes, please do. Please do. We'll talk about literature and everything. And when you were talking about literature, I would like to say that I know you're reading all the new stuff that's there, but I don't know how many of you have liked or enjoyed reading Daphne du Maurier. She's such a wonderful author. I just feel that if there's certain texts, certain books that are read of Daphne du Maurier or certain short stories, like there's this Alfred Hitchcock movie she wrote, The Birds. That's written by her. I don't know if any of you know, maybe I'm just too dated right now, but Daphne du Maurier is just so wonderful. And I don't know, do you like to read books which have a psychological twist? And do you? Is that what you
yeah,
like to do,
yes,
Vaani?
ma'am, I do.
So what are the books? I would like to ask you, what are the books that you're reading that, because I like those kind of books also.
So I think recently I've been reading a lot of nonfiction, but I remember this one book. It's by Stephen Swag, and it's called A Chess Story.
Okay.
And it's set the events of the book are set out in a single day, and it's about this guy who's suffering from PTSD from World War,
Okay.
and how he defeats the world chess champion,
Okay.
but everything that goes on inside his head. So there's a
Okay.
lot of dialogue that's happening in his head,
Okay.
and I really like that about the book.
Okay. Okay. I'll look at it. A chess
And
story.
it's a very short, it's a novella of sorts. I think it's
Okay.
barely 150 pages, but it's absolutely lovely.
Okay. Okay. Great. Yeah. I'm surprised my students haven't asked any question. I don't know if can you see any of them?
I
Maybe they,
am, yeah, I can't, I do not know if they're your
okay.
students, ma'am, but there
Maybe
are a
they're
lot of
not there.
questions.
Maybe then, yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No. If you're watching, guys, you can also ask your questions here. And you can also tell us that if Nilima ma'am is your professor in college, so it'll be really easy for me also to recognize you guys. But this Aditya is asking you, what is your favorite quote?
My favorite quote. What is this life full of? What is this life that we have no time to stand and stare? I don't know what it is. What is this life full of something and we have no time to stand and stare? Something that we're all just so hassled all the time. I used to like that. And yeah, I really don't know. I should give
Uh,
it some thought. Yeah. I
there
like
was this
sometimes. Sorry, go ahead, Manny. Go ahead.
There was this book that I read recently. It's called On Earth We're Briefly Gorgeous, and
Yeah.
it's by Ocean Wong. And he's written this book, he's dedicated this book to his mother,
Yeah.
and it's a letter from a son to a mother who cannot read. And there's
Okay.
this beautiful, your quote reminded me of this line in that book where he says, the hummingbird has to flap its wings a number of times to stay still. And
Okay.
what is that life even worth living if you can't be still? Something like
Yes.
that.
Yes.
And your quote just reminded me of that.
Okay, that's nice. Because so much is being written about the art of stillness. This
Yeah.
a lot of people are talking about the art of stillness and being still and things like that. I find it difficult to be still. It's like when you ask me, I like to write a diary or I like to do something all the time. I like to multitask. That's one thing I can do is multitask. So I have to actually tell myself, okay, just calm down and don't do anything for a while and just sit down and concentrate. I'm a good listener, so I do listen to people well. If I go to visit a friend, I don't even once look at the clock and I don't even once look at my phone. And I'm all dedicated to that friend, whoever house I've gone to, which I find very annoying. Okay, when people come to your house and they're going on looking at their phone or they're going on looking at their clock, it's just so annoying. So yes, I think I'm a good listener, but and then I am still. But that's a beautiful thing. And yes, another very good one, which I wanted to say. There's this whole poem, Life is Elsewhere. This is a philosophy of life that I have in my own life, that I should not keep thinking for this moment that life is elsewhere. This is life. Life is not elsewhere. This is life right now. I'm enjoying this so much. So I should not be thinking about anything else. I should not be thinking what's going to be the outcome of this. I should not be thinking, what am I going to eat after this or drink after this? I should just be here. So there's this whole thing, and it's a book written by Milan Kundera, a very famous Czech writer. So the title is Life is Elsewhere. It's taken from a poem in which a person is constantly feeling like this is not the life. And I think most of us are unhappy because we are always thinking that this moment or this hour or whatever is not the life. Life is actually happening somewhere else. We are here and this is drudgery and this is horrible. Life is elsewhere. Life is elsewhere. Life is elsewhere. So this constant yearning for something else that we don't have in our life. That is a quote that I like also.
That's really nice. And is there is it also something that you live by apart from, so stillness is something you are working on, but is there something that actually makes you very calm? Like for me, it's just sometimes I change the lighting in my room and I sit very peacefully after a bath and I do nothing and I just sit in my chair and I turn off every appliance or every phone, etc. And I just try to be still. And sometimes
Yeah.
just looking out at the trees just makes me calm. Is there
Yeah.
anything in your life that really helps you?
Yes, yes. So I love the house, the decor of the house, and I love the plants. And I do rearrange the plants. I have only a small number now because we've got a smaller balcony. We just moved recently, but I love my plants, and I just love looking at the plants. I don't know why, and they're not so exotic or anything like that. But I love looking at my plants. I also love switching channels. Believe it or not, news channels do calm me down, and this is something that is really
Wow.
bizarre, but I don't watch so many of the Hindi channels or even Indian channels. I watch all of them. I do all the Indian channels, then I go to DW, then I go to RT, then I go to, the Singaporean channel, the French channel. So I like to go through all the channels and see what they're saying. I find that very calming, believe it or not. I mean, it's bizarre, but I like watching news. I just enjoy watching the news.
And
That's
that calms you down.
it's kind of
Nice.
like does. I come back from work and I switch on the TV and I'm just switching the channels of the news and just seeing, because it's not always news. Sometimes there's an interview. Sometimes there's something about some tiny little village in Vietnam. They're talking about that. I like that. I just, I crave knowledge. So anywhere, any
Yeah.
which way I can get it, and it can be a knowledge of an animal or a pottery thing or something. I like it to come into my thought process.
Nice.
And yeah, what I'm doing right now, I'm writing short stories. I read this book by Jhumpa Lahiri. You must have read it, called Thereabouts. And
I haven't read it, but
she's
yes.
got these short little snippets, and she's living in a town in Italy. And it's just like random things. Like I woke up and I went to the restaurant and I had this for my breakfast, and just something. And they don't even seem to be strung together with anything happening. They're just like different. I grew up in Dehradun and I love Dehradun with a passion. And I feel like I can write little things like that about Dehradun, going back to my teenage years. And so I've started writing that, and it's an experiment because I write very serious books on religion. And it's a bit of a challenge, but I'm doing it right now till I start writing a book on religion again. It's like a stopgap thing. I may be totally unsuccessful at it, but I am writing these short pieces right now. Yeah.
This reminds me of this book that has really helped me and I've recommended to a lot of people on the channel. It's by Ruskin Bond. It's
Mm,
called The Book of Simple Living.
mm,
And he again has excerpts from his time in Missouri or in the hills. And he
okay.
just explains the most bizarre things, like a bird chirping out of his window in the morning,
Yeah.
or a fox that he saw on a full moon night. Just 5 to 6 line things, and it just somehow really calms you down.
Yes. Well, he's talking about birds, which is really nice, but I talk about crushes on school captains who didn't look at me at all. And I'm standing there in the assembly. I'm dying for him to look at me, and he's not looking at me. And how terrible it is for a girl in class 8 to be in love with the school captain who's not even looking at you for a minute. And what all she goes through, how she's
Wow.
agonizing over that.
I
So,
would
yes.
really want to read that book.
Yes. So I am talking about all kinds of things that happen when you're a teenager. And in a small town like Dehradun, it was a small town before it became a capital. And we had very lovely small desires and needs. And it's very, very nice. There was a boy who used to hang in the corridor. So he used to just get a glimpse of me when my school bus went by. And if I was not sitting near this is his problem. I was in love with someone else. He was in love with me. I was not in love with him. So then if I'm not sitting near the window seat, then he doesn't get that glimpse of me, right? If I don't get the window seat, I'm sitting somewhere else. So he misses his lunch, poor chap. So it's just crazy things.
Wow.
Crazy things like that, which I hope to bring together, and then go back to writing another book. Let's see what I write on. It'll have to be a god. I feel very, very close to the celestial world. That whole realm of the gods and goddesses, Shiva, Parvati, Kali, Vishnu, Lakshmi, I feel very close to them. I feel like I am a spectator or even, participating in their lives. So therefore, I have written so many books on them, and I do it quite effortlessly, and I probably will go back to doing that. Yeah.
And on this note, I will also want to tell you that your students are still here. Noor Sandhu is here. She's
Okay.
saying we are here. Soumya is saying, "Ma'am, we are here." And that yeah, you have a lot of students who are still here.
You know
And
how
there's a
annoyed they
very
must be so annoyed. Ma'am is taking attendance over here also. Just imagine.
But I can't imagine how excited they must be to attend your classes, because I can just imagine the kind of environment you have in your classes, and I really want to be there.
Yes, well, we have fun. Let me put it like this: we have a good time. We let conversation flow, and it just goes in all kinds of directions. And there are confessions. There is all kinds of things happening. Yeah. Yeah.
This question that Noor has asked, which book of yours brought you the most joy while you were writing it?
What a nice question she's asking me. It's the book that I just mentioned to all of you, Rudra, the Idea of Shiva. And it brought me so much. I went to Oxford University. I was invited there to be a visiting fellow. They gave me a beautiful house to live in just because I was writing this book, and I needed a peaceful place to write the book. And I had a lovely office in Oxford, and I sat there in those beautiful environments, and I wrote the story of Shiva from the eyes of all the people who liked him or disliked him. And that is my favorite book. And then when the book was written, a very famous painter, Nandalal Bose, his painting of Shiva, the publishers managed to get permission to put that painting on my book. And what was crazy and bizarre was that when I was in Oxford, I had carried the painting with me, and I used to look at it every single day. I had no idea that the publishers would one day get that particular painting. So it was like a, wonderful coincidence, or you can call it magic, that they just sent me, they said, Dr. Chitgopekar, we've got a very nice. First they asked me, what kind of cover do you want? So I said, don't make Shiva look the typical way. Just make him side profile, with his nose and his eyes half closed, and but looking a little stern, but looking just in dull colors. Don't make it very bright and all that. So this book is really, I'm talking about long ago. And then they sent it to me, and I'm just scrolling down. Those were the days, and the image is coming up. And I said, oh my God, this is looking so familiar. And before I knew it, it was that same painting. Can you believe that? What a coincidence.
That's beautiful.
Yes. And so that was a book that has given me, it's my favorite book. It's given me the utmost pleasure. And I have always felt, I'm just going to finish the story. I have always felt cheated that it didn't get enough attention. And many other scholars, many other writers came and copied my work and became very famous with their talking about Shiva. And my book didn't get it. And now there's this Dr. Karan Singh on his 91st birthday, which is on Wednesday. He has taken parts of that book and put it into an anthology of Shiva. And he wants me to give a talk on it on Wednesday in India International Center. So I'm very happy.
Do share the link with us, ma'am. We'll also join.
Yes, I will definitely. So on Wednesday, because it's Dr. Karan Singh's 91st birthday, and he loves Shiva, and he's taken writings from all over the world. Anybody who's written on Shiva whom he likes, he's taken excerpts. So he's taken excerpts from this book of mine. So I feel that this book has now got some wonderful recognition. I look forward on Wednesday to talk about Shiva.
That's really nice. Guys, I'll also share the link on my story and elsewhere if anyone is interested.
Yeah.
And your students have commented, we love her. And yes, classes with ma'am are so happening. It's Noor and Soumya. Perhaps, I think they managed to get extra credit on their next assignment.
They will tell you that I'm very stern about my marking and all the other rules that they have to be on time. And they're all such well-behaved girls. I can't believe the youngsters are so nice today. I mean, hats off to them, hats off to their parents who brought them up. The youngsters are so well-mannered and so respectful and so funny and witty. And I love my students. I love my students. Yeah.
I'm pretty certain by the comments that they love you too.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I also want to talk about the movies you watch before we wrap the conversation. So do you have any recommendations for us, ma'am?
Okay, now I know I should be knowing this, but being of this age, I tend to forget. I like that Israeli series a lot, and that Israeli movie in which the girl goes off to Germany, and I'm forgetting the name. Shitzel, one is Shitzel. That Israeli, which is on Netflix. I'm watching a lot of Netflix. And I've, of course, watched Deepika Padukone's latest movie.
and
Gehraiyan.
Gehraiya.
Yes, I watched that, and I normally can't sit through a film, Hindi film, because I find it gets OTT after a while, and it
Right.
just bothers me when the loud voices come, or if I'm very allergic to cliches. So if cliches come, then I get very bothered. But Ghenaya was quite interesting and well done. I felt it was
Yeah.
well done, and then I was surprised that some of my students didn't like it at all. So I think it's maybe just an age group. They said, "What was it all about?" I said, she had suffered so much trauma and so in her
Yeah.
childhood. So I don't know if you've seen it. Have you watched it?
I've seen it, ma'am,
Yeah.
and yes,
And
I
maybe all
liked
have
it.
you
I
I
liked
liked it.
bits of it, and there were certain parts that I thought, like, I personally thought that maybe if they picked up infidelity, they could have dealt with it. Like, I hope I don't get cancelled for this, but I wish, like, at the end, the character wouldn't have, like, they wouldn't have closed the case by killing someone. But otherwise, I
Yes.
loved the movie.
But you don't know what's going to happen now that she's
Right.
going to get to know the sisters' relationship. What is wonderful is that they've shown that the sisters' relationship is important, the father-daughter is important, different relationships, not just the spousal relation.
Right.
And people are going on calling it infidelity, but they were not really married yet. No? So
Yeah.
I think I don't know why I got the impression that infidelity comes specifically when you are married to a person. And then
Okay.
they were engaged. They were not yet the couple the man with whom she sleeps with. They're not married. I mean, he was not married. He was engaged to her. But anyway, I'm not saying that it's a good thing or bad thing. It's just that, yeah, that was one of the movies I watched. And I like to watch Swedish. I like to watch Danish. I like to watch something that's different from the regular English, American. Now that
Yeah.
it's open to us on Netflix, French, anything. I don't remember the names. I'm really sorry. That's one thing I find very annoying about Netflix. They never show the title on the top. So
Yeah.
I keep forgetting what am I watching.
Yeah.
And so, and I've watched all the Big Little Lies, all those things that came to 3 years ago, and all the movies and
Right.
all. Yeah, I watched all the things that were popular, and they were all good.
There's a movie recommendation that I think I have for you, but I can't remember.
Yes.
I'll just
Okay.
quickly, I think it's age. But there's this movie that I saw in January, and if anyone can tell me, Web have also recommended it. It's about the mother. It's about a mother,
And a
and
daughter. And a
there's no
daughter.
daughter. There are daughters, unfortunately, but they don't play a big role in it. But there's also a doll that plays a major role in it.
I watched that. I watched that.
You've seen that.
Yes, I've seen that. Yeah,
Great.
I was quite, mesmerized. I mean, I didn't turn it off. Yeah, I watched that. I'm forgetting the
And
title. I think it was a lost daughter.
yes, The Lost Daughter.
A lost daughter. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was interesting. That was
It was
interesting.
pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was
Oh,
your favorite? Yeah.
I don't know. Did she die at the end? I don't know.
I I I think she did, but I'm not sure.
She got hurt on her stomach, and so we don't know if
Yes.
she
And then
died.
she's just peeling the orange at the end, so I thought maybe perhaps that's a metaphor for when she was peeling off the oranges for her
Yeah.
daughters, and then she just left.
Okay, I want to say something about that movie now that
Yes.
I'm remembering it. What they did deal with very well is the angst and the irritation of being a mother of young daughters who are just clinging all the time. And she's an academic and she wants to write and she wants to do her intellectual stuff. And yes, it can be very, very troublesome to be a mother at that time. The way they've depicted that very realistically. But
Right.
what is not realistic is the way she steals the doll. Why does she steal the
Yes.
doll? So then it's like you're trying to show that she's mentally disturbed. So I don't know what was going on there.
I
Yeah, so
had the same problem because the moment she was stealing the doll, I was like,
yeah.
no, 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 don't do
No,
that,
no,
don't
no.
do
I
that,
say,
don't do that.
I couldn't get that.
Second-hand embarrassment.
Yeah, I couldn't. But yeah, so I do watch those kind of movies. Yeah,
Nice.
yeah.
And do you also have any music recommendations for us?
I like all music, especially old music. So, like, I love Rod Stewart. If you haven't heard Rod Stewart, I love Fleetwood Mac.
Yeah.
And among the new ones, I just love Adele. I'm a big fan of Adele.
Nice.
I don't like the way she's lost so much of weight. I used to like it. Have you heard Adele? You like
Yes,
Adele?
ma'am.
Yeah,
Yes,
so
yes,
I
yes.
don't care for the fact that she's become so thin. She used to sing and she used to, emote better when she had weight on her, but now she's just something else a little bit. But it's okay. I like Adele a lot, and yeah, I like a lot of the recent music. Many of the names I wouldn't remember offhand just now, but Elton John, all the old
Right.
stuff I like very much. Yeah.
Also, is there anything that I probably missed out on that you think we should talk about or we should cover
Oh my
before?
God, everybody must be getting so bored. It's been so long since we both have been talking.
Okay.
I think we pretty much covered everything. I just want to say that for me, it has been absolutely delightful to be on this very youthful platform, something that I probably have never really done as such. I talk to my students like this sometimes, but to do this publicly like this and talk about my book and about my likes and dislikes, I have really enjoyed myself. So thank you very much, my audience and my and Vaani. Thank you for inviting me. It's been very nice.
Thank you for joining us, ma'am. I am so excited. I'm still excited, actually. But I'm so glad with the conversation we had. And Pokraj has commented, we are not bored, please.
We are not
But
bored and
yes.
we have not had dinner yet, I think he's thinking. No, I've had my dinner, but other people, yeah.
There's Surya Raj Kumar in the comments, and he's
Yes,
saying, I'm
he's
from Chennai and I'm reading your book.
yes, he's
Like,
a very close friend of mine.
uh, I think I missed his comment a few comments ago,
Oh,
but I
he's a
think,
very close friend of mine.
yeah.
Before I was married, we were all in the same gang and we used to go dancing together to the discotheques. And he's a big businessman and he's doing so well for himself with his family. And I could never even imagine that he would be interested in buying my book and reading it. And this is one thing I must say about being an author. And if you write books that appeal to everybody, you don't just write your subject related books, but books that can appeal to everyone. You get so much of satisfaction when people close to you, like your relatives, your old aunts, your young aunts, cousins, friends, like Surya Raj, when he tells me. And he's he's got a great sense of humor. And he says that he reads one page a day, and then he goes in the morning for his morning walk, and he goes to his club to have his, cuppa. And there he impresses all his friends there with what he's read in the book. And found that,
That's
I mean,
so,
you have to see the way he talks and then you'll know what I mean. He's just so hilarious. So, hi, Suri, and thank you for attending my talk, my interview.
it's wonderful. But
Yes.
thank you so much for joining us, ma'am. And a lot of people were actually eating dinner while watching the video. So I think,
That's good. That's good. Yeah.
yes. And everyone is happy you were on the channel. And I hope you'll continue to visit us on the channel
Definitely you
for our
invite
live
me.
streams.
You'd,
Yes.
you'd invite me, Vaani, and I'll be here.
That's so good to know.
Thank you so much for everything. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Bye.
Bye,
Bye,
ma'am.
everyone. Bye-bye. Bye.
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 Have a good evening, ma'am. Bye. Hi, guys. So, thank you for this. Was so wonderful. I was actually so happy. Um, just give me 1 second. Just adding a few things. But this was so. I am a little overwhelmed by good emotions because I really enjoyed the episode. And it was such a fun conversation, and I really, frankly, envy all the students of Nilima ma'am because I really want to attend her classes now. She seems to be such a. Anyways, hey Aditya, I know. Let's do something. Let's. I'm pretty certain, and I'm very much. I'm so happy that I cannot find the right words, but I hope and I will definitely try to get her back on the channel. And guys, do check out her book. I am personally so interested in reading Rudra, the idea of Shiva. And in case, we've also added all the links to her books in the description. So in case you want to check them out, purchase them, do buy them, and you can get it from there. Yes. Hey Sundar, I'm so glad you're watching this. I am so sorry. Just give me 1 second. Hi, I'm so sorry, Ishan. I missed your question. I really wanted to ask her that, but I just thought we had digressed a lot, and I thought we were in a zone where I couldn't pick that question again. But this is really nice, and yeah, we can definitely do that, Aditya. Yes. Hi, Joey. Hey, thank you. And what's up, guys? Have you been watching the episode with this? I mean, I want to enjoy the conversation I just had, but I also want to stay and talk to you guys. But this is absolutely wonderful. Thank you so much for watching this entire discussion, guys. I think it was one of my most favorite conversations on the channel. And if in case you guys haven't seen the book yet, you must definitely check it out. And my copy is coming in the day after tomorrow, and I'll be sharing some snippets with you guys also. On Wednesday, Nilima ma'am is giving a talk. I mean, if she shares the link with me, I'll definitely put it out for you guys also if you're interested. But yeah, this has been amazing, guys. I hope you're reading Bird by Bird, which is the book for the month of March. It is a book about writing in life, but I think we can obviously try writing and sharing something that we've written at the end of the month. Hey Aditya, how to get out of reading slumps? How I get out of reading slumps is that I pick up something that I absolutely love, and I pick up things that are very short and quick reads, spicy masala books, just kidding, but like quick reads on a serious note, and essays, short stories, anything. Like right now, I am reading this book called We Don't Know What We're Doing, which is very interesting. You can get this on Amazon. If any of our mods are watching, please share the link of the book here. But yeah, this is amazing, guys. Thank you so much for staying. I love the conversation I had today, and it was so beautiful and so amazing. And do check out her other works also. There's Shakti. We've put the link in the description. There's The Reluctant Family Man, Shiva in Everyday Life, which I think is a very interesting take. This is something I would be interested in. She was mentioning all her books, and I was like, hey, that's something I would like to read. That's something I would like to read. And I hope I wasn't the only one doing that. I hope everyone who was watching this was feeling that. But hi, Arnav. How are you? Hi, Shubham. Are you guys joining just now? If you missed the discussion I just had, please go back and watch it, because I think it was amazing. There was so much to learn about a lot of things. But yes, I mean, I know when I started the stream, I was feeling a little overwhelmed because there was so much going on. I had just come out of a meeting, and then I immediately jumped on, and I was just very panicky, and the conversation was so nice that I calmed down. And I think I'll just stop fangirling now. But this has been fun, guys. Thank you so much for being wonderful listeners. And do check out the books. We have those in the links below. And we have that in the description below. And I loved her takes about just life in general. Same. Aditya, same. I just loved her take on everything. There were so many times when I went back to, oh, this is nice. I never knew of this. But this is one way to look at it. What a wonderful person. But yes, I'll stay here for 5 to 10 more minutes because it takes me time to wrap up the conversation. I'm bad at saying goodbyes. So cheesy. But this has been fun, guys. I was on call with Vaibhav today, and he told me like how my glasses have downgraded, but to be honest, like I really enjoy drinking my water in steel glasses. I think like it tastes very well. Hey Shrivats, just got Bird by Bird on me. Hey, I think some of the people were telling me that they're also just got they've started reading Bird by Bird, and it has a lot of exercises. So if you're someone who wants to write, and I think this is something I realized recently. So I'd quit writing. I do not write very well, but I had quit writing completely, so much so that I did not even write journals. And the moment I started writing journals, which happened 2 months ago, so much has just changed in my life, and thoughts are just clearer for me on a piece of paper. So I wanted to recommend that to all of my community. But yes. Hey Pokraj, yes, you were going to email me you were going to mail me or email me something, but I would love to read something with you. Yes, definitely. Hey Vishwesh, I'm so happy you're watching this conversation. Vishwesh is one of our patrons. He's our godfather, guys. And unki bookshelf was, he posted about his bookshelf in the WhatsApp book club that we have. And 5 minutes later, I saw it on my Reddit. And I was like, oh my God, this is so cool. But I would recommend, is it amazing, Gitanjali? Because I am watching How to Become a Tyrant right now, and it's absolutely wonderful. Hey Swastik, I don't, I'm so sorry. I haven't seen the podcast or heard it yet, but I've taken note of it and I'll watch it soon. When is the Karangal video coming? Aditya, we get to shoot the episode, but okay. Hey, oh, I miss drinking tea in steel glasses. I think so. My father's side of the family is from a village in Himachal, and when you visit the village, they offer you tea in like steel glasses, but they're like this tiny, and it's so tasty and so nice. It's just very fun, but yeah. Just started reading The Namesake. Wow, that's nice. Wonderful. So, guys, I think this is mostly it. Oh, God. Sorry. So, I guess, hey, Akshat is joining us from Himachal. Hi, Akshat. Where are you from? What's my favorite episode? I haven't finished the series yet. I've just seen 2 episodes, and as soon as I finish this stream, I'll finish some work that I have, and then I'll go back to watching that series again. Oh, Pokraj. I'll try to remember it, but yes. Water. Oh, there was what is. Sorry. Hi, Samyak. How are you? But this has been fun, guys, and but yeah, that's nice. Wow. Bird by being is fucking yes, and that is what I was telling. So Vishwesh was the one who told me that he's read. He's and there is a lot of. So I'll tell you. I was okay. Here is an inside story. 60 people are watching us right now. Do like the stream, guys. And I'm going to confess a few things here. And this was kind of okay. This might be a long and boring talk, so I'm really sorry about it in advance. But there's this book that I was confused about because I wanted to pick that up as well. It's called Flights, and it won the Booker Award in 2018. And last year, I had genuinely posted an Instagram story from my account where I had said, do you want to read Flights or do you want to read To Serve with Love? And everyone said To Serve with Love. And I was like a little sad. But this year again, I picked it up again. Flights versus Bird by Bird. And everyone was posting for Flights, but I was like a little too sad. And then I felt very selfish because I thought it's a book a month that I do, and I really want to be motivated enough to finish the book for our discussion. And so I kind of posted another story asking people to vote for Bird by Bird, and they did, and Bird by Bird won, so we picked up Bird by Bird. But that's not the main thing. This is just a lot of books that we pick up on a book a month. Sometimes I do that because I want to read those books in the moment. And there are a couple of books that I read on writing. So there's Right to Sell, and there is Mary Oliver's A Poetry Handbook, and now Bird by Bird. I'm still going through, I haven't finished all of them cover to cover, but like I'm at certain areas, certain percentages what I've covered of each books. And that is something that I'd recommend to everyone. And when we picked up Bird by Bird, when I started reading Bird by Bird, the author, and she was telling you about her life growing up. Her father was an author, what she thought of him, etc., etc. And that just stayed with me because when you're growing up, there are so many people, and I've seen so many kids who say that, hey, we want to be writer when we grow up, we want to be journalists, we want to write or whatever. I don't know if the kids do that this day also. But there was something so innocent about the book that made me want to pick up my pen and paper and write again. And I do not really write, but I do not really. I've noticed that for a long time, I've noticed it recently that journaling has really, really helped me. And so if Bird by Bird is something that can help people write or express themselves better, why not do that? And every time I pick up a book, I mean, I do not like every book that I pick up. Okay, there was this thing with Three Body Problem. It's a wonderful book, but I struggled with it initially. And just because I struggled with it initially doesn't mean that I hate it. It's just that, hey, perhaps some books take up time to pick up speed, right? But it's just every book, as Vaibhav says, is a self-help book, right? It depends upon you what you learn or take away from that book. For example, I was talking to Nilima ma'am right now, and she was telling us how. So I've always looked at Sati. I remember like when this whole Shiva series started coming out on. I think it was Sony or something. I don't remember. But there was this portrayal of Sati, and I was like, yeah, she's getting burned, and I was very indifferent to it. And then today, I think I was like, oh my god, this is such an amazing story, and we've never paid that sort of attention to that particular story, right? Because each story will hit you differently, but you take your time with the piece, right? And every book that I've picked up over the last 1 month in a book a month has transformed me in a way. And this is something I have against people who are not receptive to certain books. Yeah, life is okay, Pokraj. Thank you for asking. But I have, and this is a rant that I put in my recent video, but I think it will be edited out. But I have a problem against people who are not receptive. They're very selective when it comes to books, and they will shame or they will bash certain categories of books. But yeah, Mohit Raina is Shiva, right? And what we don't realize is that different books impact different people in different ways. And a book that I personally struggled with a lot was Alchemist. Oh, thanks, Pokraj. I'm so sorry. But yeah, I do not remember if it was life okay, to be honest, because I never watched a lot of TV because I would just see my grandparents watch it. But yeah, coming back to the point. God, I forgot what I was saying. I'm speaking very incoherently right now, but I just wanted to rant and I did before I go. But this is something I realized. The Alchemist is one book that I really struggled with. And I still went with it. And it took me 3 months to complete that book. When I read it, ush time par I used to read like a book in 3 to 4 days. That was my speed, right? And Alchemist was the first book with which I struggled. I absolutely hated it. And I still haven't never gone back to reading it again because I hated it. And I bashed Paulo Coelho for the longest time that I could. But then there were people who really liked the book. And a few years ago, I realized that perhaps I was wrong. Just because you do not like something doesn't mean it's not wonderful. It's just that you don't need that particular text in the moment. The moment you need it or the day you need it, you will understand it. But exactly, Aditya is saying Alchemist is so thin though. It's not about the length of the book. Sometimes it's just difficult to get through the text that's happening. Like last year, I remember I struggled with If on a Winter's Night a Traveler. I finished it 3 to 4 months later, I think. And yeah, did I like 100 Years of Solitude? Yes, I did. But that's the thing about books. Give them a chance and just stop berating them. But yeah, Bird by Bird is absolutely wonderful. And yeah, Pokraj, this is exactly what I told you not to do. But okay. But it's just, it doesn't matter. It doesn't, just try and understand that what you like and appreciate will not be appreciated by everyone else around you. And sometimes when we bash a certain set of books, category, etc., in our right mind we're doing it here because we don't like it. But sometimes we're so ignorant about the fact that it makes a whole category or this whole section of people very conscious of their choice. And they're just trying to read something, right? And the moment you make them feel conscious, they might also stop reading. So, I mean, just putting it out there, this is what I feel. But yeah, Bird by Bird is an absolute read for 2 reasons. One, if you obviously want to get into writing, that's A. And B, I feel it's also a wonderful take on, from what I've read, it's just the insecurities of, or not insecurities, but the life of a woman growing up. And she's just telling you about writing and how it's influenced her life and how it has helped her write and whatnot. And Pokraj, I absolutely understand that, and I really respect you for that. God, I'd never be able to have spicy takes in person because I'm too afraid of hurting sentiments. Just kidding. But yeah, and there are 3 podcasts that I've heard. 3 podcasts, yes, that I'd like to recommend before I leave. 2 are of Tim Ferriss. One episode is with Margaret Atwood, and the other one is with the author of Bird by Bird, who is Anne. Oh God, my memory needs some work. Anne Lamott. And the third one is this one that I've been listening to recently. It's called Ologies. I do not remember the exact name, but each episode is dedicated to a particular subject. And this morning I was listening to the podcast episode that came out last week, which is on ADHD. The part 2 is released today, and I think it's absolutely wonderful. Do check out these 3 podcasts also. And Akshay is saying we should read what we want to read, not what we should read. Absolutely. And also, guys, I just for 50 of you who are still watching, because I bored you a lot, so many people left, sorry, but I'm going to come out with a video soon. Really worked hard in this, and it's going to it's just me conversing about reading. But yes, here comes Ologies again. You know what Ologies is surprising me so much with each episode that I'm just blown away. I recommend this to one person and I'm like, okay, I'll stop talking about this. But every time I listen to a new episode of Ologies, I'm just like, oh my God, this is wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. Oh, Pokraj. I do not know if it's about the life expectancy, but okay. Have you read? I haven't read a lot of comic books, Amina, but yeah. Hey, Aditya, what episode did you like the most? I really loved the one about cats, although it's very, it's extremely light humor. But okay, guys, it's amazing. I also have been. I really liked the podcast of Tim Ferriss with Margaret Atwood. One of our godfathers recommended to us in the closed door session that we have for the book club. So we have a WhatsApp book club. It's for gladiators and godfathers, and we have monthly closed door sessions. And there was this one person, Sumit, wonderful godfather, by the way, shout out. And he recommended us. He recommended that we listen to Tim Ferriss's podcast with Margaret Atwood, and I was like, oh my God. I was like, okay, cool, I'll listen to this. And I started listening to this and I'm like, oh shit, she's absolutely adorable. But yes. But this is it, guys. This is my time and I'm going to take your leave because I have a lot of work to do. And I'll see you guys soon, hopefully on Instagram. Oh, not tomorrow, I'll see you on Chalchitra Talks ki stream, where when I are doing a VM Square episode with a wonderful and absolutely lovely guest. But I'll see you guys tomorrow. We've also released the Nasiruddin Shah episode, so check that out and share your comments and feedback with us and everything. But this has been amazing evening, guys. I really loved the conversation with Nilima ma'am, so much so that it's made me calm in general. I think good conversations are especially important that way. But do check out the books that I've mentioned in the description. I think I spoke a little too much towards the end. But thanks. Make sure all of you have life okay, as Pokraj has commented. And if there's anything, I don't know, you can always write to us if in case you want to rant. But yeah, I have a fun night, guys. And sorry for the last bit. It got a little awkward, I think. But I'll see you guys, and yep, I'll see you tomorrow. The more I delay it, it gets more awkward. But I'm gonna go, and Vaani wants the knowledge without the